Welcome to this Shortwave radio channel, and this is another Shortwave for Beginners. This is part 6 of our Shortwave for Beginners series, and I want to stress out that one of the ways of identifying a broadcast that is very nice is language. And why? Because I gave you in the last video UTC time and information. I gave you also in another video where to get the schedules, the different stations broadcasting, and how to search for a station you are listening, a frequency you're listening to, and you don't know what it is. When you actually do this search on a frequency, what happens is some frequencies will have several broadcasts that could happen at the same time. So you could say, well, I'm listening to something on 11,855 now. Click the Now button, and it's going to give you if there's a broadcast or anything. And then you might have something else. Now, here the broadcasts are overlapping. For example, Radio Aparecida from Brazil in Portuguese is a 24-hour operation. It's always there. So you might hear this, but you might hear something else if you're listening between 11 and 12 UTC, for example. And that means these two stations are broadcasting on the same frequency. Now you might think, well, aren't they going to interfere with each other? Well, if you look at the map, here KSDA broadcast is in the Pacific Ocean, where Radio Aparecida is in Brazil and South America. Chances of them overlapping is, of course, not as important because they are in different areas, probably broadcasting to different target areas. And by the way, the next video will be about target areas, understanding when a broadcast is, sending a signal towards you or not. So most of the time they don't interfere, but it could happen that a station, two stations, or several stations are in a frequency and time that, okay, I'm not sure which one it could be now. Well, here, if you would be listening at 11 UTC, then there's a Chinese broadcast from KSDA, but the station in South America is in Portuguese. If understanding a language is one thing, but being capable of identifying a language is something that is very useful to master when you listen to shortwave. You don't have to understand Portuguese to know it's Portuguese. There's a sound to that language that defines it. You can actually differentiate this from Spanish and so on. Chinese is different than Japanese, for example. Even if you don't understand the language, the pronunciation will give it away. So, for example, I'm able to separate Spanish from Portuguese. Of course, I speak French, so that's easy for the French. I'm capable of understanding that I'm listening to a Japanese transmission, not a Chinese transmission, because it's distinctly different when you listen to the people talk. This is something you will acquire over time. When I started listening to shortwave, all of these languages I did not really hear much except, Spanish. What I heard most was Spanish, French, English, and some Creole because of my surrounding here. But as you start listening in to shortwave, you notice all the languages out there. And at some point, you are able to, at most, guess that the language must be this language. Because there are languages you'll never be able to really know it's that one. Some are very close to what others sound like, so it's difficult unless you understand a few words. But it definitely will help you make that choice. Choose what broadcast you're listening to. You'll be able to actually understand, okay, it's Chinese, so I am listening to KSDA right now. Or, oh, it's a Portuguese broadcast, so it must be Radio Aparecida. So this is one example. And this will happen frequently, that there are several broadcasts at the same time on the same frequency. Most of the time they're not overlapping, but you'll want to know which one am I actually listening to. And language is a great way to understand what station you're actually listening to, because it doesn't happen often that two stations with the same language will be on the same frequency. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.